Hi everyone, I'm Bill Holcomb, and today I'll be painting the Mayflower, a classic and historic ship that makes for a beautiful and rewarding subject. If you fancy giving this one a try, I've made it easy for you. There's a free downloadable sketch in the description below, along with a full list of all the materials I use. So grab your brushes, settle in, and let's set sail together in watercolor. Having done the clear wash of water, we then go into winter blue with our flat brush, something like a 3/4 size, a half size might do. And as I often mention, these brush sizes, they do vary according to the make. So you may find a slight difference in sizes for different makes or an even larger difference, but you can see on the screen how large the brush is. I use a flat brush for this because it enables me with that chisel edge of the brush to achieve much more accuracy. So painting around the sails and the flags at the top. This of course is called negative painting when you paint around something, perhaps leaving the white of the paper, or if you'd already laid down a colour and then you're painting around that colour, that would be negative painting. So quite a simple sky for this. Come down to the horizon level where we have that thin pencil line. Then drop in some even darker blue at the top, gradually working your way down, but leaving gaps here and there for light clouds. This is a good way of doing skies, and you'll see later it's also a good way of doing water where you like ocean or lake, where you lay down a clear wash of water first before laying down the pigment. It means that you can fuse in the colour right up to the edge of a particular subject. Then here and there, in between the cells, there's still cloud area coming through, sky area. Therefore, I'm using a smaller brush, something like a number 6 will do, to lay in some more of that blue. There will be eventually, as we get to it, nice contrast of the sails against a blue background. This is a more detailed painting, of course, so a little bit more advanced, especially with the accuracy for the drawing of the Mayflower ship. But we like to do that where you do lots and lots of beginner tutorials, and once in a while we'll do something for more advanced artists. And I'm sure you will be advancing as well if you're a beginner at the moment and following my tutorials. You will be learning lots of techniques in transparent watercolor that you can then apply to your own masterpieces, whatever subject you choose to tackle. As you know from the materials listing, this is Arch's 300-pound rough paper. So it's very robust, acid free. It has a gelatin size which controls the absorbency of the pigment into the paper. And a rough surface, as I mentioned, which is very useful for a number of techniques that I apply in transparent watercolor painting, including the side of the brush scraping technique, for instance. But you'll notice that the speed of the absorbency is very much controlled with this paper. That's why it's such a good paper and liked by so many artists. Of course, it is one of the more expensive ones, but I do highly recommend it. You'll make much more rapid progress with your watercolor paintings if you use it. And you'll avoid disappointment compared to certain other papers that are not cotton based. For instance, this is cotton based. Then it's just a case of add in the detail here and there, drying with your hairdryer occasionally as necessary before you proceed to certain stages. Those dark brown areas are a mixture of your light red and Windsor blue, and this more yellow area is a mixture of your yellow ochre and Windsor yellow. For the posts and the various rigging that we'll be coming onto, I've got that mixture of light red and Windsor blue, and then resorted to a very fine pointed number 2 brush. You'll be aware, of course, that the Mayflower sailed to America in 1620, and the British government built a replica of the Mayflower, which it gifted to the United States in commemoration of the Mayflower sailing to America way back then in 1620. I have seen that replica when I went up to the Cape Cod area and visited all the historic sites around there, Plymouth Rock, etc. And it's surprising when you take a tour of the Mayflower how small it is. The people were very much cramped up inside below decks. You can imagine that journey of several weeks in rough seas. They ended up sailing much later than they intended because their sister ship, the Speedwell, developed problems and they had to go back into port. And in the end, just the Mayflower sailed on its own. For the flags, we got the English flag there at the front, and then the British flag on the tallest post. For the water, you can use something like your number 12 brush with a nice fine point and lay down clear water first of all over the whole of the ocean area, coming right up to the ship. And you'll notice later I will be purposefully leaving some white where some sea foam is coming up as the ship is gliding along, apart from the fact that it does have a light coloured hull. Then your flat brush is very useful again for laying down waves in the ocean. Nice chiseled edge again, coming right up to the ship, but leaving some of that white foamy area at the bottom of the hull. And then once I've laid down the blue, leaving lots of white in between, I am using Windsor blue and light red for those darks. And of course it'd be much darker in the foreground, and as we get away into the distance, the wave action gets smaller in size because it's further away. Just bear that in mind, so that you can end up with a convincing ocean situation. This is an easy way of doing water, to lay down that clear water wash first. Still using wet and wet, so this is staying nicely wet, and that's another beauty of this paper. It allows you time because of the controlled absorbency that's taking place. Right, coming close to the end of this painting, A little bit different than what you might have seen in my other tutorials, but as I mentioned, once in a while we do something with a little bit more accuracy and a little bit more of a challenge. So I hope as you progress, you'll be encouraged to have a go at this one, and it will help you greatly when painting other sea subjects, perhaps including sailing ships like this one. There's a few people up top there, just lightly indicated using that tiny number 2 brush. You can resort to an even smaller one if you wish, but this one is good. It has a very fine point. And here we are, finished painting. I hope you've enjoyed that. Have a go at it, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give my other beginner videos a try by clicking this thumbnail.